Hello, how's it going? It is that time again. It is YouTuber's Secret Santa. We have done it every single year for the last 4 years or something, and it's been very fun. Built a lot of interesting things, and yeah, happening again. Yeah, it's when we get given a randomly allocated name out of the hat, and we've got to build something for them. You may notice around me copper and plumbing supplies. Well, this year I got allocated Colin Furze's name. Initially, when I found out I got his name, I started to panic because I was like, what am I going to make for Colin Furze? I was really nervous. But then, when I was making my beans on toast one fateful lunchtime, I had a brainwave. Oh yeah, Colin seems to like things with flames. Yes, it's true, Colin likes things with flames. I'm not the first person that's made a flame-related thing for Colin for the Secret Santa. But I want to hark back to a project that I did a few years ago called the flame-throwing organ. This was an organ that made flames when it made music. And no, it's not like a pyrophone. Pyrophones are amazing. They're like glass pipe, and the actual fire drags the air up through it and resonates to the length of the pipe. No, the flame-throwing organ is a lot more agricultural than that. What it is an organ pipe, but instead of sending air through it, you send butane or propane, and then as the air leaves the organ pipe, it ignites, making a bit more of a raspy tone. But first, before we make an updated version for Colin, let's have a look at how organ pipes work. This museum is not obsolete, and this is Jones' organ. I've done about 20 videos on this organ, from recovering it from Bristol all the way up to getting it up to this point. There's a playlist linked below if you're interested. But let's use it to have a quick look at how organ pipes work. Each one of these pipes makes sound when you send air through it. You can see the light lit up whenever I did one. But if we get in there and we get one of them, let's grab a wooden one because you don't want to be putting your mouth on a metal one now. Lovely. How an organ pipe works is it adds turbulence to the air, and then there's a resonant chamber where the turbulence goes a little bit like... When a positive pressure of gas is put into the pipe, you can hear a sound. The air travels up the pipe and it hits this blade type thing, which is called the upper lip, and that slices the air and causes it to go rula rula. A lot of the air escapes out the front of the pipe, but it causes turbulence that causes the air inside the pipe to vibrate at a frequency that is in relation to the length of the pipe itself. You'll notice that this one actually has a stop in the top of it. This, in essence, doubles the length of the pipe. The vibration goes up, it doesn't get dispersed, so it goes back down again and then gets dispersed. So without anything in the top, the air resonates to the length of the pipe. But if we put a stop in the top of it, it will double it because it will go there and bounce back. How cool is that? You may notice a fundamental issue with the pipe in my hand and, well, to be honest, all of the pipes in this machine. And that is the fact they're made from materials that don't take kindly to fire. Even all of the metal pipes here are made from metals with a very low boiling point. And even if we uttered the idea of fire to them, they would merely just go, whoo. So there must be another way. How I'm making the pipes for this machine is I'm using 22mm copper pipe, and inside I'm using a bit of 20mm steel. I've cut it down to be a little nugget, making sure they're all near enough exactly the same. I filed it so there's a tiny little gap for the air to pass through, and then I've drilled a hole, a 12mm hole, basically filed the bottom of it down until it looks right, and you know, if it looks right then it probably works. Then I spend quite a bit of time fettling it, like blowing in and just trying to get the correct fundamental in a pressure range that is kind of like reasonably large, around the 700 millibar mark. So what we're going to do next is find out how this test pipe works with the compressed gas and actually see what it sounds like when we ignite it.
We're going to use this 15mm to spline adapter to connect up to this hose, to connect up to the regulator, which connects up to the soldering guest.
Shit. There is a scent of burning hair. Okay, right. Let's pop this tube onto it. That is good. Right, just quickly like... Oh, that is so good! Now we know it sort of works, and it might actually work quite well. We need to figure out what it's going to look like. I also apologise for my fingernails. I've also been fixing the car that we're going to be taking this to Colin's, because I won't be able to post this because it's all a little bit too sketchy. So we're going to drive it over there. But the next couple of days whilst I'm building this, I'm also putting the rear subframe back in that so we can drive it over there and drop this off. Anyway, let's plan this out, shall we? We're going to keep the amount of pipage minimal, I think. So I reckon all of the pipes are going to come off this. How many pipes? I'm thinking the major scale from octave to octave. So that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For the extremely minimal gas reservoir, we're going to use these T-pieces and then cut these tiny bits of 22mm pipe to shove it all together.
Now we got the scary bit because we need to solder this together, and it's at this point you might remember that Colin Fairs was a plumber by trade, so I best do this reasonably well or I'm going to look like a fool. It's not great, but it's not bad either.
It's like riding a bicycle. Once you've learned it, you don't forget it, but it sucks because I never learned it. So we're going to try and figure it out. A bit of flux, bit of solder, bit of gas, and always remember the rhyme. Steel wool's great, it makes me the plumber I ain't. Someone forgot about the thermal capabilities of copper right there. Anyway, don't look that bad. Squint your eyes, it's quite pretty. Anyway, we're going to use these electromagnetic solenoid valves. You put electricity through it and it lets the gas go through. We're going to use these 15mm to 1/4 inch thread converters to be able to plug it onto the 15mm copper pipe, and then another one on the top to be able to plug it into 15mm copper pipe on the top again. As you can see, there's all 8 of them.
So now we have 8 controllable exits where the gas can leave. I've got 2 crocodile clips here, and between them there's 12 volts. So if I put this 12 volts through these 2 wires, it's going to open this solenoid valve. If I blooming wired it into anything. Oh. Lovely. Oh dear, we have ourselves a bit of an issue. We're no longer getting the pressure we need for the pipes to actually make sound. It's firing flames, all right. It's just no music.
Yeah, I had a really low pressure regulator. I tried modifying it and completely broke it, so we're going up a step. And if there's anybody in this world who's probably got a can of propane sitting somewhere, it'll be Colin.
Oh my God. So it's all well and good we can turn on and off the gas valves whenever we want to play music, but we still need to ignite the flames. I found these little boards, they were £4 each, it's quite expensive, it's already going over budget, but and once you solder them together, send 12 volts for them, you get a nice arc. And after a bit of experimentation of where it needed to be on the pipe, it ignited pretty well without any fuss. And then I 3D printed this enclosure and that sits on the front of it to hold the circuit board in. You can build these, put it all together, and then, yeah, give it a tune.
So yeah, it took quite a little bit of fine tuning here and there. It turns out it's not as simple as you want to make copper pipes musical, but with persistence and a tuner app on your phone and a nice little hammer to really fine tune those little upper and lower lips on the organ pipe, we might get it working.
Blimey heck. Now we have it sort of working, it's time to tackle the electronics, which is going to tell which pipe to play and when to play.
This board has electronic switches on it called relays. We're going to use each one of these to control the solenoid valves and igniters on the pipes, but we need to tell it to do it, so we're going to use this programmable microchip called an Arduino, which is going to receive signal from the outside world to be able to translate it into the language that the pipes speak. This is the MIDI socket. It's a musical USB, you can think of it as, so you can use this MIDI controller, which is sort of like a musical keyboard, plug it in, and I've programmed it in such a way if you play the right notes, it turns on the right relays. Lovely jubbly, simple as that. You can see the lights light up underneath the relays when I'm playing on it. We also need to give it the capability of being able to play songs autonomously, so I'm going to reuse the inside of this module from my synthesizer that I don't use anymore, which can load MIDI programs on it of songs via an SD card. So we're going to put switches on it so we can press play and stop and flick through all of the songs. And we're also going to put a sticker on there so everybody knows the idiot that made it.
So this is the mystical box right here. We're going to wire it into this, but first we're going to mount it onto this plywood backplate that I put together. Hopefully it's not going to burn to pieces.
Spoiler alert, it's singed to a fine crisp, but I need to show you how I wired it all together. So we used these Mengel rings, I think they're called, I can't remember what the fudge they're called, and then we soldered all of the wires going from the solenoid valves and the igniters down into the relays so we can get the relays to turn them on and off, of course, and then we make it look nice and neat because we need to make it look neat because Colin likes neat things, don't he? He loves it neat. Don't we all? There's nothing worse than a spaghetti junction of a project. Anyway, as you can see, it's starting to work again. Let's get it on the test stand and let's finally get it to make some music because this has took donkey's years. Come on, Sam, come on.
Oh my God, it's not in tune, but it works.
How we tune it is we add or remove pieces of copper pipe using even more copper fittings.
Tuning this is pretty challenging. Unlike a normal organ when you're tuning it and you're only really dealing with the ambient temperature, you've got another level of things to think about with this, and that is, yeah, the temperature fluctuations all the way from ambient to really hot that it burns your fingers. I think the middle ground is what I'm aiming for, because if it's too cold, the harmonics aren't quite right, and if it's too hot, the harmonics aren't quite right. If you get bang in the middle, and that's the point when it's played for a little bit and it's started to warm up a little bit and do its thing, and it's just getting... But yeah, because of that, with this machine, tuning is more of a suggestion than a strict science. That one needs to be longer. When I say hot swapping, I literally mean hot swapping. They get a little bit sizzly, I must be honest, but let's extend this one because it's a little bit flat.
Right, we need to tackle a couple of problems. We've got a singy backplane and the power isn't sufficient to trigger more than one at once. So let's take it off the back. I was kindly gifted this offcut of steel that happened to be exactly the right size. What a beautiful piece of stainless. We cut it down, we gave it a bit of a brush. We sacrificed to the stainless steel blood gods because I picked it up when it was sharp, when it was cut down and forgot it. What an idiot. Anyway, let's put it back together. Oh, it's starting to look lovely already. I was also getting sick of this pipe, so I decided to build it again. It just wasn't playing in tune in the right fundamentals, so we're going to build a new one, and beautiful. We then cracked out the 3D printer again to build this front for the switching power supply, which is a 12 volt 10 amp. Should be enough power, fingers crossed.
It's cold today. The tuning of that one drifted like mad. Right, here's the doorbell song. This is the answering doorbell. Bloomin' heck, this thing gets hot. It's only been running for about 10 minutes and we got a sizzler on the go. See that the image is now a little bit smoky? Yeah, that's because I was accidentally filming it a little bit too close to the machine, and now I think I might have ruined my lens. There's a few obvious oversights which I'm going to have to overlook now because it's a little bit too late, and that's the 3D printing. Obviously that was never going to work. I want to build a bigger and better one. I want to try and solve the mounting of the spark gap using CNC parts, but it'll do for now. I'm just going to tell Colin not to run it all the time. But that's the thing, it's a doorbell. It's not meant to be run all the time. So I'm going to connect up the doorbell. We'll have one last test and then we're going to have to send it off before it breaks itself. Oh yeah, marshmallow time. We've also got this doorbell, which is on a really long cable with a jack cable on the ends. We're only a few miles off Stamford now. You can hear the sunny A1. It's been a nice enough drive. Yeah, it's in the back. It's sitting right there. Next stop, Collins Tunnel. Oh, this is Collins. Here we go. Enjoy it, Colin. Oh, I will. In other news, look what just came in the mail. Ooh. Reset time, I think. I have a feeling it is anyway. Oh, it might be funny if we just open it up and it's an eBay order of some switches or something. Ooh, it's a multicolored. Nice. I actually need it. Oh no! Oh, there's a hole. There's a hole. There's something going on in here. What the hell? Okay. Oh, that might have smashed off. Okay. Okay, there's no description of what it is. Okay. This box turned up a couple of days ago, but then since then I've had a letter from Becky Stern. Sam, I was in such a rush to get your gifts out. First off, let's get this ear stuck back on, shall we? Ooh. Oh. Do you know what that is? Because I know what that is. That is a Vectrex. I know that because there's one at the museum and it's just constantly going. Loop. Becky, that is really cool. I'm going to be watching the video on how you put this together, and if you want to watch it, you can as well. It's in the 2024 Secret Santa playlist. The link is below if you want to see where the flamethrower organ went in Colin's place, and also how these went together, and all of the other videos on all of the other Secret Santa projects. Anyway, I'm Look Mum No Computer. These are the musical game controllers, and that was the flamethrower organ. I'll see you soon. Toodly-doo.
All in all, it was a bit of a success, apart from the fact that it is a fundamentally flawed design because you've got to deal with different gas weights because of the resonant pipe going through the gas, and then the temperatures. But I'm still going to try and build a bigger Mark II. Anyway, go and watch the rest of the videos. Merry Christmas and a totally good night.